it's always the same. Yeah, you need to have a system and work it out and adjust, and then you will find that's what is interesting for you. And don't listen to people that say, I can make hundreds of thousands a year. Yeah, you can when you put your horizon like that. Yeah, you can reach that. But for most people, they are happy when they can make 10,000 or 15,000 part-time extra money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's doable, easy doable, in my opinion. You can make 10,000, yeah, with an investment of about 3,000 and about 15 to max 20 hours a week. Yeah, you can do that, but not today.
No.
No, not today. Of course, my system is not the only system. I don't know, but it will also not be the best system. Yeah, there are 100,000 ways you can do it. There are 1,000 ways you can make money, and the only thing you have to do is to find the one that works for you. Yeah, but when I go to the 225 books that are there, I can handle that with repricing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So all the time I reprice 3 or 4 times a week. Mm-hmm. Now in the selling season, I did it daily. Yeah. And that is where you make the money. But when I have 500 books or 1,000 books, that kind of thing, I do here many times. Yeah, I'm not shooting with a bullet. Yeah. I do mass things and yeah, I think that can be better when you overthink it and say, okay, I do it now for 2-3 months. I do understand things I didn't understand in the beginning. You make your mistakes. We all have to make, yeah, and you go after that. So then think, yeah. And then find your system that you can make consistently money, yeah, and don't make a casino out of it, yeah, because when you do the book arbitrage the good way, you have a chance of 95% or more, mm-hmm. Yeah, and when I go to the casino, yeah, I can go for black and white. It's my maximum. I have only 50%, yeah. Yeah. So make a job out of it. It is a kind of work, and you can do it full time and you can do it part time. But even when you do it part time, yeah, do that as a job. Yeah. Yeah. Then start. Yeah. When you say, okay, I have 15 hours a week to spend on a book arbitrage. Okay, then do also 1/3, yeah, of the books you would do when you do it full time. Yeah. Yeah, but do it good. Yeah, do it
properly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. People, it seems to me, are not very organized about it, and potentially, I think that they don't understand all of the pieces. And mm-hmm. So the thing that they understand the best, because there's lots of videos about it, is buying the books. And so when they get home at the end of the day and they're tired and they know they should work on the business, but they don't know what they should do, it's easy to just buy books. And what they should map out, in my opinion, is basically the different steps of the process. And if it helps to make it, I'm a big fan of checklists, like a huge fan of checklists. So if it helps to make a checklist for how to reprice a book, so that when you're tired at the end of the day, you can go on autopilot. You don't have to think like, how did I do that last time? And if it helps to make a spreadsheet so that you remember things better, and so that you can basically study what worked and what didn't. I think if everybody brought a much more of an engineering mindset to things, they would be so much more successful, even in a short period of time. And I think what happens is that people are like, well, I'm too busy to set stuff up. And so they just do the easy part, the part they understand really well, and then the rest of it just falls by the wayside. And
I always say buying books, that's fishing. Yeah? So it is the hobby part of the arbitrage business.
That's a great way to put it. It's the fun part, right?
Fun part. And but when you go fishing for your job, yeah, you are not there with only putting the fish out of the water. Then after it is also some work to do that makes it a job.
So to sum up your system, it would be to do your system part-time, it would be basically to do a quarter of the amount of books that you would otherwise do, but do them really well. Because if you do what is effectively like a full court press, if you reprice 3 or 4 times a week, if you make sure to follow up on replenishments potentially, follow up on your returns, be really assertive in dealing with problems at the warehouse, then you would be able to turn over your investment much more quickly on a smaller number of books and make money much more readily. Is that a fair? Excellent. I think that would be a really exciting thing for people to hear, to do not less work, but
we forget now one very important part, and that is your bookkeeping in Excel, how to do that and how to set it up, that whatever is happening, you can find the information very easily. So I made an Excel sheet, the columns in it. I send it to you.
I will share it.
Show it to the people that are a lot of columns, and I know there is missing one column that everybody has. How much profit did I make on that book? Now it's not on my Excel sheet. It don't interest me. Yeah. So sometimes I have a book that I make $50–$60 in a few weeks. And when I see prices going down because, for instance, there is a new edition coming, so the price will never recoup the level of before, then I take the loss with the same speed as when I take a good profit. Yeah. When it's collecting dust, nobody earns something, and you get a surprise from Amazon later that you can pay for the warehouse space there.
Yeah.
So I have that Excel sheet, and perhaps you can put it in the video or give it as an extra document. But there is all the columns that you know everything when something happens. Yeah, you have it, and when you have also a sheet that you use with your company, and put there the date of buying the book, you have a connection between both of it. And when there is a question or something is happening with a book, I can find it in 2 seconds.
What I found most interesting, and I don't really talk to my clients about pricing very much because that's such an individual thing, but you were saying that you would talk to lots of people who would say, like, who would suggest to you the price that they would ask for something, and you would say an amount that's like less than $2 up or down, and they would not want to shift it for some reason, and you would say, well, but if you can guarantee the sale by lowering the price, 75 cents, why wouldn't you, essentially? Can you talk more about that?
You can only sell a book because people do not only look at prime prices. You have also the MF prices. There has to be a connection between it. Yeah, of course, people don't have to pay freight costs when they are prime, but not for any cost. So sometimes I see MF books $20–$30, and I see prime for 160, okay?
Yeah.
So when you think you can sell for 150, just under the price of the other guy, and do sell it, okay? But I was 4 years old when I believed fairy tales. Yeah. So always also use your mind and your brains when pricing the books. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can only sell when you are in first or second or third. You know, from my experience, I have a lot of very good books or like new books, and I look for them. I normally not paying extra, or it is 50 cents more or whatnot. But I see a lot of time that a better graded book sells better, that I have them on the third row, and next day it's gone, and they are still there. And because I can see in Seller Central for the price where it was sold for. So the grading is more important for people as you think. And when you say grading, you say also the description you put with the book. Yeah, I heard it many times in videos. Oh, that's totally not important. But I see that it's important to give people the information that they want, and not only it is good.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think there are many people willing to buy acceptable books, but there are many people who avoid them. And I think that there is a lot more money to be made if you can get the people who are avoiding acceptable books, who are willing to pay a little extra for a nice condition book. I mean, I know I'm one of those people. Especially now that I see what people like, a broad swath of what is sold as acceptable condition, I would say I wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole. Like, as a consumer, they're disgusting.
Yeah, but when I see every day, yeah, how much of the acceptables are sold.
Yeah, and some people don't care. So
it surprises me.
Yeah,
I will never sell or buy acceptables, only unfulfillable, and is sending back from Amazon to you. Yeah, sometimes they are acceptable, and then I price them always the lowest.
Yeah, get them out of here.
Yeah, get rid of them. Yeah, I don't like to have problems, so I never buy acceptable books. And I think the returns are much higher with acceptables as with normal books.
Yeah, the problems are much higher though, because there's a lot of times that people are selling them very cheaply, like you say, to get rid of them, and then you get them to the warehouse and they've been soaked in water, or God knows what they've been soaked in, and or they're ripped in half, or they're international editions or teachers editions or whatever, stuff that they know they shouldn't have been selling anyway, so they sold it as acceptable. So I would say that if you're willing to invest the time to send 30% of those back, then yeah, you could probably get a nice ROI on them. But in my experience, most people are just not willing to invest that much time in doing the follow-ups. In fact, I think of all my clients, you're probably the best at doing the follow-ups. In the top 10 for sure of chasing up on sellers that sent unacceptable books and getting a return and stuff like that. A lot of people just have me throw out the book. They don't even bother to get the refund, and that blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, that's money down the drain. But sometimes you just don't have the time to chase it down.
No, time is money, and especially arbitrage. Yeah, and that's why you will have to invent a system that works for yourself.
Yeah.
The big advantage for a system is you're doing everything every time the same. I explain many times, I think tons of people, millions, hundreds of millions of people, they go surfing on the internet, and they start with African elephants, and they end up yeah, with the life of Eskimos 100 years ago, because they don't know where they search for.
Yeah.
And when you are in a book arbitrage, don't spend your time to things that don't bring money.
Yeah.
So learn all the times for the most efficient way, and do that again and make them more efficient. And after a few weeks or a few months, you have a system that works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what happens, there's like information that helps you in the short term, and there's information that helps you in the long term in terms of the information that you're tracking or paying attention to. And ROI is a great example of something that might matter in the long term, but doesn't matter in the short term. And in the short term, you mentioned, basically dynamically pricing according to whatever the market says, because you want to turn over that inventory lickety split. Whereas after 6 months, a year, 18 months, it would be interesting to go through and see historically, like, what has your ROI been? Another example that I just did for the books that, like, for my personal book business, is that over the last 2 years, I've been assertively tracking the ROI from each of the sources that I use to source books at. Like, I source books in in real life, not online. Don't worry, you guys, I'm not your competition. So I went through and I did an 80-20 analysis of what my most effective sources were, so that because the prep business is getting busy, busier and busier and busier, I wanted to make sure that for as long as I'm running 2 businesses side by side, I want to make sure that I'm making the best use of my time. So I want to spend my time on the 20% that's going to do the best for me. And it was not effective for the entire first 2 years to sit there and be like, well, but is this place really, really worth it? Is this really worth it? You have to give it everything you've got. You have to wait for your results. And because it takes, with the sourcing locally, I wait up to a year for my sources to sell through. And I can, because I have a very small investment, you guys. I'm not spending $25 a book. So I wait for a year for it to sell through, so I know that the sale is good or not. And then that's when I assess. I can't assess before a year, or at least I can only assess preliminarily. And that's the sort of information I really think people should think more about when they're tracking is this going to make my decision? Is this going to make my money back for me right now? Or is this going to help me learn in a year?
But with my age of 69, I don't have that time.
Well, and you have so much experience now that you can apply the things that you've learned from other businesses previous to this and be like, well, you said yourself, you already know from selling consumer goods, from having consumer goods businesses elsewhere, that it's the amount, the speed of the turnover that makes the most sense. And that is an insight that I have been selling books for 7 years and rarely have heard it. Like, I've heard it once or twice, but usually in the online arbitrage space, in the space where people can really supply goods in a very time-effective manner. So wholesalers will often talk about turnover, but book arbitragers never. So, yeah.
One other figure I can tell to people, but that's my system, is I buy usually books ranking not higher than 135,000.
Yeah.
Or most of them under 50,000.
To guarantee your turnover.
Yeah, with 135,000, I know the book will sell daily.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. What I also use is I buy books where I think I can make at least $20 on.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes my possibilities to lower prices, but also higher.
Yeah.
Make prices higher, much better.
Yeah. But they sell more slowly. So you're essentially demanding more ROI in order to.
No, they sell.
So those are the under
13
135.
times a year. I sell my stock.
Okay.
And what people say, I cannot find them. Okay, yeah. What do people expect me to tell?
Yeah.
I'm not selling webinars or software or whatever, but I can find them. Most of the time.
Yeah.
Easily, not easy, but easily. But I have also sometimes that 30, 45 minutes I cannot find anyone. Yeah, that's like fishing. Sometimes they bite and sometimes they don't bite. Yeah. So it's about the system. Yeah. You find for yourself and then go for it. Yeah. And don't go from one system that somebody says to another system what another says. But I hope with this information that I give today, that people will start thinking my business is not going off as I expected. Is it the market, or is it the kind of business, or is it the prep, or is it the software? But the main fault is yourself, that you expect things too easy.
Yes.
And don't put energy in it. Only when you put energy in it, you can make a success of anything that you want. That's why I had in my life 7 times started up a new market or a new range of products all over. But so first, make everything clear for you. Yeah, how it works, how the market works, how you buy books, where you can buy them, not only from Amazon. There are so many sources. Yeah, every seller has the pitfall they have. When it's really reliable, you pay top dollar. When it is less sure, you have to learn where to watch to be more sure.
Yes.
But 100% is never in the market, nowhere. So, what I always say is experience is the sum of your failures. So, give yourself the opportunity to make the failures, to be an expert later. Yeah, that's the money, and the college money you have to pay in this business. That's time to go for information. Yeah, and to make those failures, and then I can laugh, I can walk over it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Be happy with the successes and forget the failures for the money part, not for the experience, but for the money part. Yeah.
Yep. And then have people be like, well, it was easy for you. Yeah. You got started so long ago before the market was crowded, and whatever else they say.
Yeah. People always tell me I was lucky and I was this.
Yep.
And I said, okay, you were so lucky sitting for the television. And then I worked, and I have complete racks of books that I read, all the books in the past. Yeah, and you know something, okay. But it was hard earned those knowledge. Yeah, but it pays out. Make it a kind of hobby. That's why I say call it fishing, etc. But the rest is hard working. Okay. Yeah.
There's a lot of pleasure in figuring things out. Like I could probably go on for 30 minutes about the best way to pack a box at this point, and like the way to figure out how best to pack a box. But, that's not really interesting to anybody unless you have a reason for it to be interesting. And I think that the best way to get into this is to have a reason for this to be interesting to you and for you to win at this, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for spending so much time and sharing all of your insight and knowledge, and for being generous about helping other people succeed, because it would be easy for you to just sit there in your empire in the Netherlands and on your pile of gold coins and run your book empire. So I really, really appreciate it, and it's been great working with you.
Yeah, and I want to thank you for all the help you give me in the past to make my learning curve so much easier. Yeah, and I hope that many other peoples will also believe this part of my story, and also be the next customer for you, and you can really help them. Thank you.